The warning lights flashed red across the massive control room of Station Nexus Prime. Admiral Zefkar's 6 arms moved quickly over his control panel as he read the data streams. His blue skin turned pale as he saw what the sensors were telling him. "This cannot be right," he said to himself. His voice carried the worry that was building in his chest. The door behind him opened with a soft sound. War Prime Hethmus walked in, his heavy boots making loud sounds on the metal floor. The Korthic leader was tall and covered in thick armor. His red eyes glowed in the dim light of the room. "What has you so upset, Admiral?" Hethmus asked. His voice was deep and rough like rocks grinding together. Zefkar turned around slowly. "We have a problem. A big problem. Something just came out of jump space at Sector 7-7-9. The energy readings are unlike anything we have seen before." Hethmus moved closer to look at the screens. "Show me," the display changed to. "Show the outer edge of their space." A bright dot appeared on the map, blinking slowly. Numbers ran down the side of the screen, showing size and power levels. "The ship is large," Zefkar explained. "Almost as big as our battle cruisers. But the technology readings are strange. The metal they use is different. Their power source gives off energy we do not understand." Hethmus studied the data. His mind was already thinking of war. Where did they come from? What species builds ships like this? "That is the problem," Zefkar said. "We have no records of this design. No known species uses this type of jump drive. This ship came from a part of space we thought was empty. Far away from the station, Commander Lisa Brown was having her own problems." She sat in the pilot seat of the U.E.S. Defiant, watching her screens with growing worry. Red warning lights covered her control panel. "Computer, run another scan of our location," she said. The ship's computer spoke in a calm voice. "Scan complete. We are in unknown space. Star charts do not match any known systems. Jump drive shows critical errors." Lisa rubbed her forehead. She had been testing a new type of jump drive when something went wrong. Instead of jumping to the test area near Earth, she had ended up here, wherever here was. "Send a message to Earth Command," she ordered. "Tell them we have a problem." "Unable to send message," the computer replied. "We are too far from any Earth communication stations." Lisa looked out the front window of her ship. Space looked the same as always, but she knew she was very far from home. The stars were in patterns she had never seen before. Back on Station Nexus Prime, more ships were arriving. The Galactic Council was calling an emergency meeting. 12 different species sent their best leaders to deal with this new problem. Ambassador Lithara arrived first. The Etherian was tall and thin, with skin that looked like it was made of light. She moved like she was floating instead of walking. Her people were known for being peaceful and wise. "What do we know about this new ship?" she asked Zefkar. "Very little," he replied. "But Hethmus thinks we should attack it before it can cause trouble." Lithara's light skin grew brighter, showing she was upset. "Attack? We do not even know if they are hostile. They might be peaceful explorers, like my people were long ago." "Your people never had weapons like this," Hethmus said as he joined. "Them. Look at these energy readings. This ship could destroy one of our cruisers in a fair fight." More council members arrived. Each species looked different. Some were tall, some were short. Some had fur, others had scales. But they all had one thing in common. They were worried about this new ship. The meeting began in the large council chamber. The room was round with seats for each species. In the center was a big display screen that showed the unknown ship. "We need to decide what to do," said Council Leader Morgaine. He was old even for his long-lived species. "This ship represents something new, something we do not understand. I say we destroy it," Hethmus declared. "Unknown ships in our space are a threat." We have kept peace in this galaxy for 500 years by dealing with threats quickly. And I say we try to talk to them, Lithara replied. Violence should be our last choice, not our first. The other council members began to argue. Some agreed with Hethmus. Others wanted to try peaceful contact first. The room filled with the sounds of 12 different languages as species talked in their own groups. Meanwhile, Lisa was still trying to figure out where she was. She had been running scans for hours. Her ship's computer had been working hard to understand the new area of space. Computer, any luck with the star charts? She asked. Partial match found, the computer said. Based on stellar positions, we appear to be approximately 8,000 light-years from Earth. However, this region should be empty space according to our maps. Lisa felt cold. 8,000 light-years was much farther than any human had ever traveled. How had her test jump gone so wrong? Computer, are there any other ships in the area? Yes, multiple ships detected. They appear to be moving toward our position. Lisa's heart started beating faster. Other ships meant other people. But were they? Friendly? Back in the council chamber, the argument was getting louder. Some species wanted to send a peaceful greeting. Others wanted to send warships. Hethmus was getting angry at all the talk. While you debate, this unknown ship could be calling for more ships, he said. What if this is just the first of many? What if they plan to invade our space? Council leader Morgaine raised his hand for silence. We will vote. All in favor of sending a greeting fleet to make peaceful contact? 6 hands went up. All in favor of sending a military force to investigate? 6. Hands went up again. The council was split exactly in half. Mordain looked around the room. As the leader, his vote would decide what happened next. I vote for military investigation, he said finally. But we will try to communicate first. If they are peaceful, no harm will come to them. Hethmus smiled. He knew that his warships would be ready for anything. If this new species wanted trouble, they would get more than they bargained for. Lisa watched her screens as the unknown ships got closer. There were 12 of them, all different sizes and shapes. She had never seen anything like them. Computer, try to send a peaceful greeting message on all frequencies, she ordered. Message sent, the computer replied. No response received. The alien ships were getting closer. Lisa realized she had just made first contact with alien life. But she was not sure if that was good news or bad news. On Station Nexus Prime, Admiral Zethkar was preparing his fleet. War Prime Hethmus was all ready. On his way to his flagship, the galaxy was about to meet humanity, and nothing would ever be the same again. The phone rang in the middle of the night at the White House. President Helen Carter woke up quickly and grabbed it. She had been president for 2 years, but she had never gotten a call like this one. Madam President, this is General Rick Stone. We have a situation. Commander Lisa Brown's test ship made contact with alien vessels 8,000 light-years from Earth. Helen sat up in bed. Say that again, General. We have first contact, Mom, and it might not be friendly. 20 minutes later, Helen was in the Situation Room deep under the White House. General Stone was there with Dr. Amy Walsh, the scientist who had built the new jump drive technology. Amy looked worried. How is this possible? Helen asked. I thought the test was supposed to stay in our solar system. Amy pushed her glasses up her nose. The new drive worked too well. Instead of a short jump, Lisa went much farther than we planned. She ended up in space, controlled by something called the Galactic Council. Galactic Council? Helen repeated. That's what they call themselves, General Stone said. Lisa managed to send one message before they surrounded her ship. 12 different alien species control that part of space. Helen looked at the big screen. On the wall, it showed a map of local space with Earth at the center. A red dot showed where Lisa was now. "What do they want?" Helen asked. "We don't know yet," Amy said. "But our deep space monitors are picking up a lot of ship movement in their area. They might be planning something." General Stone stepped forward. "Madam President, I need to tell you about something. Something that has been secret for 10 years. Helen looked at him carefully. "What kind of secret?" "We have been building a space fleet. Not just exploration ships, like everyone thinks. Real warships. We have been preparing for this day." Helen felt cold. "You built warships without telling me?" "Your predecessor approved the project," Stone explained. "After we discovered that other intelligent life existed in the galaxy, we decided to be ready. Dr. Walsh's jump drive technology was part of that preparation." Amy spoke up. "We found radio signals from alien civilizations 7 years ago. We kept it secret because we were not ready to meet them. We needed time to prepare. How many ships do we have?" Helen asked. 53 warships of different sizes." Stone replied. "All hidden in asteroid bases around the solar system. Admiral Ben Clark commands the fleet." Helen put her head in her hands. "So we have been lying to the world about aliens existing. We have been protecting the world," Stone said. "And now we might need those ships." Far away in space, Lisa was, still surrounded by alien vessels. She had been trying to communicate for hours, but they were not answering her messages. The alien ships just stayed in a circle around her. Then her computer spoke. "Incoming transmission. Translation protocol active." A new voice came through her speakers. It sounded strange, like it was being translated by a machine. "Unknown vessel. This is Fleet Commander Varthik of the Korthic Empire. You will surrender your ship for inspection." Lisa took a deep breath. "This is Commander Lisa Brown of the United Earthship Defiant. I am a peaceful explorer. I am not here to cause trouble." "Earth?" the alien voice said. "We have no record of this Earth in our databases. Where is your homeworld?" Lisa looked at her star charts. Should she tell them where Earth was? What if they were not friendly? "I would like to speak with your leaders," she said instead. "You will speak with me," Varthik replied. "Prepare to be boarded." Lisa watched as one of the alien ships came closer. It was much bigger than her ship and covered with weapons. She realized she was in serious trouble. Back on Earth, the emergency meeting was still going on. More people had arrived, including scientists, military leaders, and intelligence officials. "We need to make a decision," Helen said. "Do we reveal the truth to the world, or do we keep this secret? If we're going into a fight, we'll need the whole planet working together," General Stone said. "Secrets won't help us now." Dr. Amy Walsh was working at a computer. "I'm getting new data from our deep space sensors. The aliens are moving a large fleet toward the edge of their space. It looks like they're coming this way." Everyone in the room went quiet. "How long do we have?" Helen asked. "If they use jump technology like ours, maybe 3 days," Amy replied. Helen stood up. "General Stone, prepare our fleet. Dr. Walsh, get your people ready to upgrade our ships with anything new you have. I'm going to address the nation in 2 hours. What will you tell them?" Stone asked. "The truth. All of it." 2 hours later, every television and radio on Earth was broadcasting the same thing. President Carter sat at her desk in the Oval Office, looking directly into the camera. "My fellow humans," she began. "Today I must share news that will change our world forever. We are not alone in the universe. 7 years ago, our scientists discovered radio signals from alien civilizations. For the last 3 days, one of our ships has been in contact with these aliens." Around the world, people stopped what they were doing to listen. "The aliens call themselves the Galactic Council. They control a large part of our galaxy. Right now, they are sending ships toward Earth. We do not know if they come in peace or war. Helen paused, then continued. For 10 years in secret, we have been preparing for this day. We have built a space fleet to defend our world. Our scientists have developed new technology to help us survive. The camera moved to show General Stone and Dr. Walsh standing behind the president. In the next few days, you will see things that seem impossible. You will see ships launching from hidden bases. You'll see technology that looks like science. Fiction. But it is all real, and it is all meant to protect humanity. Helen looked directly into the camera again. We do not want war. We hope these aliens come in peace. But if they come to conquer us, they will find that humanity is stronger than they think. The broadcast ended. Around the world, people stood in shock. Some were angry about the secrets. Others were afraid of the aliens. But most felt something else, a strange pride that humanity was not helpless dot in hidden bases around the solar system. Admiral Ben Clark was preparing for battle. His flagship, the U's Guardian, was the largest warship humanity had ever built. It was equipped with weapons that used Dr. Walsh's new energy technology. All ships report ready, Admiral, his communications officer said. Good, Ben replied. How long until the alien fleet arrives? 2 days and 6 hours, sir. Ben looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Lisa was alone and surrounded by aliens. Somewhere else, an alien fleet was coming to Earth. In 2 days, humanity would learn if they were strong enough to survive. First contact. Send a message to all ship commanders, Ben ordered. Tell them to remember their training. Tell them that Earth is counting on them. And tell them that no matter what happens, we do not surrender. The message went out to 53 warships hidden throughout the solar system. On each ship, human crews prepared for the fight of their lives. On Earth, Dr. Walsh was working without sleep to upgrade the fleet's weapons. Her team had discovered new ways to make their energy shields stronger and their weapons more powerful. How? Much time do we need? Her assistant asked. More time than we have, Amy replied. But we'll make it work. We always do. In space, Lisa was still trying to communicate with the alien fleet. She had learned that they were called the Korthik, and they did not seem interested in peaceful talk. Your ship design is unknown to us, Fleet Commander Varthik told her. Your technology is different from any species in the Council. This makes you dangerous. I'm just one ship, Lisa said. How can I be dangerous to your entire Council? One ship can become many ships, Varthik replied. We have decided to visit your home world to learn more about your people. Lisa felt sick. She realized that her test flight had put all of Earth in danger. Please, she said, my people are peaceful. We don't want to fight anyone. That will be determined when we reach your planet, Varthik said. If your people surrender, they will be allowed to live under Council rule. Lisa knew she had to warn Earth, but how could she get a message past 12 alien warships? As she thought about this problem, she remembered something Dr. Walsh had taught her. Human technology was different from alien technology. Maybe different enough to surprise them. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. If the aliens wanted to meet humanity, they were going to get more than they expected. The countdown to first contact had begun. The first shots of the war were fired at the edge of Earth's solar system. Admiral Ben Clark watched from his command chair as the alien fleet dropped out of jump space. 12 large warships appeared on his screens, just like Lisa had described. All ships. This is Admiral Clark, he said into his communications device. Wait for my signal. The alien fleet moved slowly toward Earth. They seemed confident, like they expected no resistance. Fleet Commander Varthik was probably thinking this would be an easy conquest. Admiral, they're sending a message to Earth, his communications officer reported. Put it on the main screen, Ben ordered, The image that appeared showed a tall creature in metal armor. His red eyes glowed as he spoke. "People of Earth, I am Fleet Commander Varthak of the Korthic Empire. Your ship entered our space without permission. You will surrender your planet to the Galactic Council. Resistance is useless." Ben smiled grimly. "Send our reply." The transmission switched to show Ben on his bridge. Behind him, human crew members worked at their stations. "Commander Varthak, this is Admiral Ben Clark of the Earth Defense Fleet. You entered our solar system without permission. Turn around and leave, or we will make you leave." Varthak laughed, a harsh sound. "Your one ship cannot stop our fleet." "Who said anything about one ship?" Ben replied. All around the solar system, hidden bases opened. 53 human warships emerged from asteroid fields and space stations. They had been waiting in the dark, invisible to alien sensors. On Varthak's ship, alarms started ringing. His tactical officer's voice was high with surprise. "Commander!" Multiple ships appearing on all sides. Where did they come from? Varthak stared at his screens. The humans had ships everywhere. Large ones, small ones, all moving with purpose toward his fleet. "Impossible," he whispered. "Our intelligence said this species was primitive." On the Hughes Guardian, Lieutenant Sam Davis was tracking the alien ships with his targeting computer. He had studied alien battle tactics for years, preparing for this moment. "Admiral, their ships are moving into a standard council formation," Sam reported. "They're using Pattern 7 from the military database." "Good," Ben said. "That means we know what they'll do next." All ships execute Plan Alpha. The human fleet split into 3 groups. They moved in ways that the alien computer could not predict. Instead of fighting like the organized species of the Galactic Council, humans fought like the warriors they had always been. Wild, unpredictable, and dangerous. "What are they doing?" Varthak demanded. "This formation makes no sense." His tactical computer was trying to predict human movements, but it kept getting wrong answers. Human ships would suddenly change direction or speed in ways that broke all known battle rules. The first exchange of weapons fire lit up space. Alien energy beams reached out toward human ships, but they hit empty space. The humans had already moved. Human return fire was different. Instead of single powerful shots, they fired multiple smaller weapons that curved and twisted through space. The alien shields had never faced weapons like these. "Report," Varthak shouted as his ship shook from multiple hits. "Their weapons use some kind of guided energy," his weapons officer said. "Our shields are failing in multiple places." On the UE's Defender, Chief Kelly Murphy was pushing her engines beyond their design limits. She had always been good at making machines do impossible things. "Captain, I can give you 50% more speed, but only for 10 minutes, she told Captain Jake Morrison. "Do it," Jake replied. "Sam, target their command ship." The Defender shot forward, faster than any alien ship could match. It fired its main weapon at point-blank range into the side of Varthak's flagship. The alien ship's shields collapsed completely. Emergency lights flashed on the bridge as systems failed throughout the ship. "Impossible," Varthak said again. "How are they doing this?" The answer was simple. Humans fought differently because humans thought differently. Every other species in the galaxy had learned to fight the same way over thousands of years. They used the same tactics, the same formations, the same strategies, but humans were new. They brought ideas from their own violent history. Ideas about warfare that no alien had ever seen. "All ships retreat," Varthak finally ordered. "Jump to rally point 7. But the humans were not finished. As the alien ships tried to escape, human fighters appeared from nowhere. Small, fast ships that had been hiding behind larger ones. The fighters swarmed around the fleeing alien vessels like angry insects. Their weapons were small, but there were so many of them that alien point defense systems could not stop them. All 3 alien ships were destroyed before they could jump away. The rest escaped, but they were all damaged. In the silence after the battle, Admiral Clark opened communications with Earth. "This is Admiral Clark. The alien fleet has been defeated. Earth is safe." Around the planet, people cheered. They had won their first battle against aliens. But Ben knew this was just the beginning. Captain Morrison was already planning the next move. "Sam, did you get tracking data on those ships?" "Yes, sir," Lieutenant Davis replied. "I know where they went." "Good. Kelly, how fast can you repair the damage?" Chief Murphy grinned. "Give me 12 hours, and this ship will be better than new." Morrison looked at his crew. "Then we're going after them. Time to show the galaxy that humans don't just defend. We hunt." Meanwhile, on Station Nexus Prime, Admiral Zethkar was receiving reports from the battle. His blue skin had turned almost white with shock. "How many ships did we lose?" he asked. 3 destroyed, 9 damaged, his aide reported. The humans had no losses. War Prime Hethmus was furious. He had been certain that his fleet would crush. "These new aliens easily. This is impossible," he roared. "No species defeats the Korthik in their first battle. Clearly, these humans are different." Admiral Zethkar said quietly. In the council chamber, emergency meetings were starting. The species that had voted for peaceful contact were now saying they should have tried to communicate first. The species that had voted for military action were demanding more ships. Ambassador Lithara spoke for her people. "Perhaps we should try to make peace with these humans. They have proven they can defend themselves." "Peace?" Hethmus laughed. "They attacked council ships. This is war." But some of the other council members were not so sure. The battle reports showed that humans use technology and tactics unlike any known species. This made them either very dangerous enemies or very valuable allies. Council leader Mordain called for order. "We need more information about these humans. Send scouts to learn about their capabilities." "I will send more ships," Hethmus declared. "Bigger ships. These humans got lucky once. They will not be lucky again." Far away from the council station, Captain Morrison was leading a small human fleet toward Korthik space. The U-East Defender, along with 4 other ships, was about to give the galaxy its first lesson in human warfare. "Captain, we're approaching the edge of Korthik territory," Sam Davis reported. "Any ships on patrol?" Morrison asked. 2 light cruisers, standard patrol pattern." Morrison smiled. "Kelly, are those new weapons ready?" "Online and ready, Captain," Chief Murphy replied from engineering. "Good. Time to introduce ourselves properly." The human ships approached the Korthik patrol vessels slowly. They were flying a flag that meant they wanted to talk. The alien captains were confused, but agreed to listen. "This is Captain Morrison of the Earthship Defender," Jake said. "We want to talk with your War Prime." "You will surrender your ships," the Korthik captain replied. "You are in our space illegally." "Actually," Morrison said, "I think you misunderstood. We're not here to surrender. We're here to send a message." The human ships suddenly spread out and opened fire. But these were not the same weapons they had used at Earth. These were new ones that Dr. Walsh's team had built during the 12 hours after the first battle. The alien patrol ships were destroyed in seconds. They never had time to send a warning. "Message sent," Morrison said to his crew. "Now let's go send some more." Over the next few days, human ships appeared throughout Korthik space. They attacked patrols, destroyed supply ships, and hit military bases. They moved fast and struck hard, then disappeared before reinforcements could arrive. The Korthak Empire had ruled their part of space for hundreds of years. They had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. War Prime Hefmus was getting reports of attacks from all over his territory. His military staff was in chaos. "How many ships do they have?" he demanded. "Unknown, my lord," his intelligence officer replied. "They appear to have at least 20 ships in our space, but they might have more. 20 ships are attacking my entire empire?" "Yes, my lord, and they're winning." Hefmus looked at the battle map. Red marks showed where human ships had struck. There were dozens of them, scattered across hundreds of light years. "This is not possible," he said. "No species fights like this, but humans did fight like this." They had learned from thousands of years of warfare on their own planet. They knew how to be patient, how to plan, and how to hit enemies where they were weak. Most importantly, they knew how to adapt. Every time the Korthak tried a new defense, humans found a way around it. As reports continued to come in, other species in the Galactic Council began to take notice. Some started to think that maybe making peace with humans was a good idea after all. 3 weeks after the first battle, Ambassador Grace Lewis stepped off her shuttle onto Station Ethereal Prime. She was the first human to visit an alien world in peace instead of war. The station was beautiful, made of materials that seemed to glow with their own light. Ambassador Lithera was waiting for her. The tall, graceful Etherian moved like she was floating instead of walking. Her skin shimmered with colors that changed as she spoke. "Welcome, Ambassador Lewis," Lithera said. Her voice sounded like music. "I hope we can find a path to peace between our peoples." Grace looked around the station. Everything was curved and smooth, very different from the sharp angles of human buildings. "So do I, but my people are still fighting for their lives." "The Korthak Empire is difficult," Lithara agreed. "They believe that might makes right. Your people have shown them that they are not as mighty as they thought." The two ambassadors walked through the station's gardens. Plants from a dozen different worlds grew together in careful harmony. Grace had never seen anything so beautiful. "Tell me about the Galactic Council," Grace said. "How does it work?" 12 species, each with one vote, Lithara explained. "We make decisions about trade, territorial disputes, and threats to galactic peace. The system has worked for 500 years. Until now. Yes, until now. Your people have changed everything. Some council members are afraid. Others are angry. A few, like my people, are curious." Grace stopped walking. "What do you want from humanity?" Lithara's skin brightened. "We want to learn. Your people solve problems in ways we have never seen. Your technology develops faster than any species. In our records, you could teach us much. And what can you teach us? Peace, perhaps. Your people are very good at war. But war cannot solve every problem." While Grace was learning about diplomacy, Colonel Paul Wright was learning about combat on a world far away. The mining planet Kepler 442b was rich in rare metals that both humans and Korthak needed. Paul crouched behind a rock formation, watching Korthak soldiers advance across the red desert. His Marines were spread out in defensive positions around the human mining base. "Sergeant Rodriguez, report," he said into his radio. "They're coming from the east in standard formation," Sergeant Nia Rodriguez replied. "About 200 soldiers. With air support." Paul looked through his binoculars. The Korthak were good soldiers, but they followed the same tactics every time. Human Marines had studied their methods and learned how to beat them. "All units, execute Plan Charlie," Paul ordered. The Marines opened fire, but not from where the Korthak expected. Human soldiers popped up from hidden positions all around the alien force. They fired, then disappeared before return fire could reach them. The Korthak had better armor and stronger weapons, but humans had better tactics. They used the rocky terrain to their advantage, making the aliens fight on human terms. Air support incoming. Nina shouted. Corthic K fighters screamed overhead, firing energy weapons at the human positions. But the Marines had prepared for this. 2. Hidden missile launchers emerged from the rocks and filled the sky with explosions. 2 alien fighters crashed into the desert. The others pulled back, their pilots shocked by the intensity of human anti-air defenses. Push forward. Paul ordered. The Marines advanced, moving from cover to cover like ghosts in the red landscape. Each squad worked independently, but they all moved toward the same goal, the Corthic landing zone. Nina led her squad around the left flank. Her Marines were experts at moving quietly through difficult terrain. They had trained in deserts, like this one on Earth. Colonel, we're in position, she reported. Execute. Nina's squad attacked the Corthic supply ships from behind. The aliens had left only a few guards, thinking their main force would keep the humans busy. They were wrong. Explosions lit up the desert as human charges destroyed alien equipment. Without supplies and reinforcements, the Corthic attack began to fall apart. Retreat! All units retreat! The Corthic commander ordered, but the Marines were not finished. They followed the retreating aliens, harassing them all the way back to their ships. By the time the Corthic escaped, they had lost half their soldiers and all their equipment. Paul watched the alien ships disappear into the sky. Good work, people. But they'll be back with more ships. Let them come, Nina said, reloading her weapon. We'll be ready. Back on Station Ethereal Prime, Grace was having her first meeting with other alien species. The Zephyrian representative looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and wings that shimmered in the light. Humans are unpredictable. Collective mind. Jera said. Her voice sounded like many people talking at once. Our hive mind cannot understand individual thinking. That might be our strength, Grace replied. We don't all think the same way, so we can find solutions that others miss. A small, furry creature spoke up. The Rillan Confederation is interested in human technology. Your ships are faster than ours, and your weapons are more effective. Added another species. The Corthic have ruled this sector through fear for too long. Grace realized something important. Many species in the Council were tired of Corthic aggression. They had been afraid to speak up before, but humans had shown that the Empire could be beaten. What would you need to stand up to the Corthic? Grace asked. Protection, the Rillan representative said immediately. They have threatened to destroy any species that opposes them. And what could you offer in return? Trade routes, Lithara sighed. The Etherian Coalition controls the main shipping lanes in this sector. We could give human ships safe passage. Star charts, added Jera. The Zephyrian Collective has explored areas of space unknown to other species. Resources, said the Rillan. Our worlds are rich in materials your technology needs. Grace saw the opportunity. If humanity could build alliances with these species, they would not have to fight the Corthic alone. I need to talk to my government, she said. But I think we can work together. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message. Admiral Zethkar's face appeared on the communication screen, his blue skin pale with worry. All council members must return to Nexus Prime immediately, he said. The Corthic Empire is mobilizing its entire fleet. War Prime Hethnus has declared total war on humanity and any species that supports them. Grace felt cold. How big is their fleet? Over 300 ships, Zethkar replied. The largest military force assembled in 500 years. The other ambassadors looked at each other with fear. 300 ships was more than the rest of the council species combined. What will you do? Lithara asked Grace. Grace thought about Colonel Wright and his Marines fighting on distant worlds. She thought about Captain Morrison and his crew, hunting Korthik ships through space. She thought about all the humans who are risking their lives to protect Earth. "We'll fight," she said simply. "Humans don't surrender. Even against impossible odds? Especially against impossible odds." On Kepler 442b, Paul was getting the same news. His radio crackled with a message from Earth Command. "All units, prepare for major enemy offensive. Korthik fleet strength estimated at 300 vessels." Nina whistled softly. "That's a lot of ships, Colonel." "Yes, it is," Paul agreed. "But ships have to land somewhere. And when they do, we'll be waiting." He looked at his Marines. They were tired, dirty, and outnumbered. But they were human. That made all the difference. "Listen up, people," Paul said. "The enemy thinks they can scare us with big numbers. They think we'll run away when we see their fleet. What do you think about that?" "We think they don't know humans very well," Nina replied with a grin. The other Marines laughed. They had been fighting Korthik soldiers for weeks. They knew the aliens were tough, but they also knew humans were tougher. "That's right," Paul said. "Let them bring their 300 ships. We'll show them what happens when you threaten humanity." In space, Captain Morrison was receiving similar news. His small fleet had been striking at Korthik targets for weeks. But now they faced a much bigger challenge. "Captain, long-range sensors show massive fleet movement in Korthik space," Sam Davis reported. "How massive?" "Every ship they have, sir. They're putting everything into this attack." Morrison looked at the star map. The Korthik fleet was huge, but it was also slow. Big fleets took time to coordinate and move. "Kelly, what's our status?" he asked. "All ships ready for action," Chief Murphy replied. "The new weapons upgrades are working perfectly." "Good. Time to show these aliens what David can do to Goliath." Across the galaxy, battle lines were being drawn. The Korthik Empire was mobilizing. For total war, some council species were choosing sides. Others were trying to stay neutral. But humanity was not backing down. They had allies now, species that were willing to stand with them against Korthik aggression. The galaxy was about to see the largest battle in its history. Grace finished her meetings on Station Ethereal Prime with new agreements for cooperation. The Etherian Coalition, the Zephyrian Collective, and 3 other species had agreed to help humanity. It was not enough to match Korthik numbers, but it was a start. And humans had already proven that numbers were not everything. As her shuttle prepared to return to Earth, Lethera gave Grace a gift. It was a small crystal that glowed with soft light. "This is a communication device," she explained. "If you need help, my people will hear your call." Grace smiled. "Thank you. And if you need help, humans will answer." The final battle began at the edge of Korthak space. War Prime Hefmus led his fleet of 300 ships toward the human forces. He was confident that sheer numbers would crush the upstart species that had dared to challenge his empire. Captain Morrison watched the massive enemy fleet approach on his screens. The human force looked tiny in comparison, only 50 ships against 300. But those 50 ships carried the best technology humanity had ever built. "All ships, this is Morrison," he said into his communications device. "Remember what we're fighting for. Remember that Earth is watching. Make them proud." Admiral Ben Clark commanded the human fleet from his flagship, the U.E.S. Guardian. Next to him stood Dr. Amy Walsh and Dr. Tony Kim. They had worked without sleep for weeks to give humanity every possible advantage. "Amy, are the new weapons ready?" Ben asked. "Better than ready," she replied. "Tony's team made some last-minute improvements. The Korthik won't know what hit them." Dr. Kim smiled tiredly. "We figured out how to turn their own shield technology against them. Every shot they fire will make our weapons stronger." The battle began when Hethmus ordered his ships to attack. Energy beams crossed space like deadly lightning. The first exchange of fire lit up the darkness between stars. But something was wrong. The Korthic weapons that should have destroyed human ships were barely scratching their shields. Meanwhile, human return fire was cutting through alien defenses, like they were made of paper. "What is happening?" Hethmus demanded from his command ship. "Unknown, War Prime," his tactical officer replied. "Our weapons are not working properly, and their weapons are stronger than before." The truth was simple but devastating. Dr. Kim's team had learned how Korthic energy shields worked. They had built human shields that absorbed enemy fire and used that energy to power their own weapons. The more the Korthic shot at human ships, the stronger the human weapons became. "Impossible!" Hethmus roared as he watched his fleet being torn apart. But Admiral Clark was not finished with surprises. At his signal, new ships appeared throughout the battle zone. These were not more human vessels. They were ships from the species that had allied with humanity. Etherian ships moved like dancers through space, their weapons firing beams of pure light. Zephyrian vessels swarmed around larger Korthic ships, like angry insects. Willand fighters darted between the giants, targeting weak points with surgical precision. "All allied ships, this is Admiral Clark," Ben broadcast. "Thank you for standing with humanity. Today we fight together for freedom." Ambassador Lithora's voice came back over the radio. "Today the galaxy sees what happens when free species unite against tyranny." The tide of battle turned completely. Korthic ships that had expected easy victory found themselves outnumbered and outgunned. Their formations broke apart as captains tried to escape the slaughter. "All ships retreat," Hethmus finally ordered. "Jump to rally point 9. But Captain Morrison had been waiting for this moment. His ships were positioned to block the main escape routes. As Korthic vessels tried to flee, they ran into walls of human fire. "This is for Earth," Morrison said, as his weapons destroyed Hethmus' flagship. The War Prime died, still refusing to believe that his empire could be defeated by newcomers to the galaxy. When the battle ended, 2/3 of the Korthic fleet was destroyed. The rest surrendered or fled to distant parts of space. The empire that had ruled through fear for centuries was broken. On Station Nexus Prime, the surviving council members watched the battle reports in shocked silence. Admiral Zethkar spoke for all of them. "The war is over. Humanity has won." Council leader Mordain called for an emergency session. "We must decide what to do about the humans. They have proven they cannot be conquered. I say we invite them to join the council," Ambassador Lithara suggested. "They have earned that right through battle." "Agreed," said Collective Mind Jera. "Any species that can defeat the Korthic Empire deserves our respect." Other voices joined in support. The species that had stayed neutral during the war now wanted to be friends with the victors. 1 month later, Ambassador Grace Lewis stood in the rebuilt council chamber. The old station had been too damaged by Korthic attacks to repair, so the Allies had built a new one. This station was different. It was designed to include all species as equals. The Galactic Council recognizes humanity as a full member species. Mordain announced, "You will have one vote in all council decisions, the same as any other member." Grace smiled. "Thank you. But humanity wants more than just membership. We want to change how this council works." The chamber went quiet. Change was not something the council was used to. "What kind of changes?" Lithara asked. "No more voting blocks based on military power," Grace explained. "No more species that can threaten others into agreement. Every voice should be heard equally. And if some species refuse to follow council decisions?" Another member asked. "Then we deal with them together," Grace replied. "All of us. No single species should be able to terrorize the others." Dr. Tony Kim had been working on new projects since the war ended. His latest invention was a jump drive that could move ships faster and farther than ever before. But instead of keeping it secret, humanity was sharing the technology. Why give away such valuable knowledge? Admiral Zefkar asked him during a technology conference. Because the galaxy is safer when everyone can defend themselves, Tony explained. We don't want to be the only species with advanced technology. We want to lift everyone up together. This was a new idea for many aliens. Most species hoarded their best technology to maintain advantages over others. Humans were doing the opposite. Captain Morrison, now promoted to admiral, was leading the first joint exploration mission in galactic history. His crew included humans, Etherians, Zephyrins, and members of 6 other species. Commander Lisa Brown, the woman whose test flight had started everything, was his second in command. She had been promoted after her heroic escape from Korthic captivity during the war. Admiral, we're approaching the edge of known space, Lisa reported. Any signs of new civilizations? Morrison asked. Several promising star systems. Should we make contact? Morrison looked around his diverse bridge crew. Each species brought different skills and perspectives to the mission. Together, they were stronger than any of them could be alone. Yes, but carefully. We've learned that first contact can go very wrong if we're not prepared. The new exploration missions were finding many new species. Some were friendly, others were hostile. But now the galaxy had a way to deal with both kinds. Peaceful species were invited to join the growing alliance. Aggressive ones faced the combined might of a dozen allied civilizations. On Earth, President Helen Carter was meeting with world leaders to discuss humanity's role in galactic affairs. The revelation that aliens existed had changed everything about human society. We're not the same species we were a year ago, she told the assembly. We've learned that we're part of something much bigger than just our own world. General Rick Stone had been promoted to head of Galactic Defense Command. His job was to make sure humanity never again faced the kind of threat the Korthic had posed. We have allies now, he reported to the president, but we must never become weak. The galaxy is full of dangers we haven't discovered yet. Dr. Amy Walsh was working on her greatest project yet, a new type of space station that could serve as a mobile base for allied fleets. It would be a symbol of cooperation between species. How long until it's ready? Helen asked. 6 months, Amy replied. And when it's finished, it will be the most advanced structure in the galaxy. Built by humans, but designed to house any species that wants to be our ally. The Korthic Empire was slowly rebuilding under new leadership. The survivors had learned that ruling through fear was no longer possible. New Korthic leaders were trying to make peace with their former enemies. Some humans wanted revenge for the war. But Grace Lewis spoke for most of humanity when she addressed the rebuilt council. We don't want the Korthic to suffer, she said. We want them to change. We want them to become the kind of species that builds up instead of tearing down. It was a slow process, but it was working. Young Korthic were learning new ways of thinking. They were discovering that cooperation was stronger than conquest. Admiral Morrison's exploration fleet made its greatest discovery in a distant spiral arm of the galaxy. They found a species called the Ancients, being so old that they remembered when the galaxy was young. You are the humans, the ancient representative said. His voice sounded like wind through old trees. We have been watching your progress. What? Do you think of what we've done? Morrison asked. You have brought change to a galaxy that was growing stagnant, the ancient replied. Change is painful, but it is necessary for growth. The ancients shared knowledge that helped humanity understand their place in the cosmic order. They learned that every few million years, a new species emerged to shake up galactic civilization. Humanity was just the latest in a long line of such species. What happened to the others? Lisa asked. Some grew wise and became teachers. Others grew proud and destroyed themselves. A few, like you, learned to build bridges between different kinds of life. As the first anniversary of the war approached, the galaxy was a very different place. The old Council of 12 Species had become an alliance of over 30 civil